Hey everyone, it's Victoria with Nutrition by Victoria. Welcome to today's video. For those of you who don't know me or are new to the channel, I have a Master's of Science degree in Human Nutrition and I specialize in helping you to build a high-functioning metabolism while eating all the carbohydrates you want. And why does that work so well? Because the human metabolism runs on glucose. So when you eat the carbs from fruits, sugars, and starches, you fuel your body, and if you keep your dietary fat low, you'll get rid of the body fat. So very simple concept, but everybody wants to argue that keto is the way when, that's not our human design. That is our starvation biomechanics. So today I want to share something that I haven't shared yet, and that is my blood work from September of 2024. So I am lined up to do more blood work. Actually, October of 2024, I'm sorry, is when I had the blood drawn. I have another appointment in October of 2025 where I will be having repeat blood work done. So I finally dove in, got a PCP, and got all the bloods that I was curious about because I didn't have, some of this testing done while I've been pregnant the last, 10 years and breastfeeding the last 10 years. So I want to go over some of this today. So we'll start with the CBC, and this is going to be a quick video, so, pay attention. I just want to highlight that everything is in normal range. Everything's in the green, okay? And typically my hemoglobin would be on the lower end, hematocrit same. These are the indicators for anemia, and basically if your red blood cells are doing what they need to do in order to transport your iron and oxygen around, okay? So everything's normal. I'm not anemic, contrary to what the trolls say. Okay, so comprehensive metabolic panel. Everything, again, normal range except for bun up here. My fasting glucose came in at 77. I had fasted for this test for over like 12 hours too. So by the time I got to the testing center, I had to have my kids off to school, and it was probably like 9:30 in the morning. And generally I'm done eating for the day at about 8 o'clock at night. So, a little bit of longer fasting than what I prefer to do. Anyways, calcium's normal. Somebody made a comment recently that my calcium was probably low. It's not. And granted, this test was done 6 months ago, over 7 months ago. No, a little over about 6 months ago. Yeah. That was October. Mid-October would be 6 months ago. Yeah, everything came in normal range though. Total protein, calcium. A lot of these tests reflect kidney and liver function. But my bun coming in low is blood urea nitrogen. And what I want to say about that is that what does low bun mean? Basically, it's reduced urea production. Bun is a waste product formed in the liver when when protein is broken down. A low bun level suggests that the liver might be producing less urea than usual. Okay. And that's probably just a reflection of the fact that I don't eat a high protein diet. I don't eat a lot of protein, like concentrated form of protein. All my protein is coming from plants in the form of fruit, sugars, and starches. Of course, sugar doesn't contain protein, so mostly fruit, starches, and vegetables. And my protein intake ranges from like anywhere from 30 to 60 grams a day. So the bun is just a reflection of my lower protein intake. Low but sufficient because total protein came in normal. Okay, moving on. Oh my goodness. Okay. So next we're going to go over my lipid panel. Okay, so I was fasting for all these tests too. You can see that right at the top. Cholesterol came in normal. This is total cholesterol at 158. My HDL cholesterol was low. My triglycerides were high, and my LDL cholesterol came in low. Now, my doctor said because my total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol were within normal range, she was not concerned about my HDL cholesterol because my cholesterol to HDL ratio came in normal, which means that having a low HDL cholesterol, which is the form of cholesterol that removes cholesterol deposits from your system, is fine to be what it was because my body's not depositing a lot of cholesterol, which is reflected in the LDL cholesterol being at 88. Now, triglycerides is something that people are probably like, oh my gosh, go figure, she eats all that sugar. Now, what I'll say about what I was doing at the time of the test is that I had recently increased my sugar intake. So I wasn't having it in my diet so much, and then I bumped it up and it made me feel better. So that's probably a reflection of the increase in sugar in my diet, whereas now the sugar content of my diet has been stable, where it hasn't been that I've needed to add a bunch more or, that I'm eating less. It's just, it's been consistent. And what I'll say too is that since this test, my weight has come down about 10 pounds, and my insulin sensitivity has improved. So it's likely the triglycerides were a reflection of my body being under some stress from not enough carbohydrates, and cortisol impacting that number, which triglycerides are subject to stress. And it could also be a reflection of fats moving out of storage. So, triglyceride levels that are measured in the blood do not reflect whether tris are moving in or out, where they're being made by the liver or they're being taken out of storage. So, what I want to focus on is that this was done fasting. So, why would the liver be making triglycerides in the fasted state when you will be, requiring more fats to come out of storage for lipolysis or energy energy needs under, a famine type situation, right? A fasted state where hormones, particularly in the morning, cortisol is going to be driving increased energy supply to the cells in order to compensate for the lack of energy coming in. So that is a theory that I have about it. The other thing is that it's been mentioned by Harley Johnstone or Durian Rider that when you're burning through a lot of body fat or you have fat to lose and you're not taking in a lot of dietary fat. He said Freely, for instance, when she was heavier and she would have blood work done, her triglycerides would come in higher. And then when her weight stabilized at her lean body weight that she's been holding for the last decade or so, that her tris registered normal. So I found that to be really interesting as well, and something to just, take into account. Okay, next is TSH. So my TSH came in normal, 2.17. I will say that it is slightly elevated in comparison to my reading from 2019, where it came in at like 1.89. I was breastfeeding at that time, but I only had two children, and it's likely I was being more consistent with my carbohydrate intake as well. So the thyroid and thyroid hormone production is very subject to carbohydrate intake, and it requires carbohydrate in order to make its hormones. So your TSH value is going to be a reflection of your carb intake. So I think at this point, my body was under a little bit of stress, which is being reflected in my triglyceride level being slightly elevated, as well as the TSH. And I would suspect if I had blood work done now, that those numbers would come in lower, particularly because I've lost 10 pounds and I've been more consistent with my carbohydrate intake being at a level that makes me perform and feel, better and dealing with less, cortisol. Okay, so T4 came in normal, T3 normal. I was negative for any kind of autoimmune problem. And then my C-reactive protein came in less than, the normal value, anything less than 8. Mine came in at a 3 or less. I think that's what that sign says. And that's a reflection of inflammation. So low inflammation in my body. And we got B12. My B12 came in normal. Now I supplement with a sublingual form of methylcobalamin, and it works just fine to keep my B12 within normal range. This is the first time I've had a B12 test done as well. And then vitamin D. My vitamin D came in low in the insufficiency range. So it's not that I have a vitamin D deficiency, it's that it's insufficient. And I had this test done at the end of summer, and because I had an infant at the time, I didn't spend a whole lot of time in the sun getting sufficient vitamin D. I also wasn't supplementing at the time either. So my doctor suggested that I supplement with vitamin D3, 5,000 IUs a day, which I do a few times a week. So I'm interested to see how that has impacted my vitamin D levels when I get that tested again. I also live in a climate where we don't have access to the sun all year round, but having vitamin D tested is important to make sure that you can keep your level within range, because it will impact your insulin sensitivity as well. So being deficient in vitamin D will make you more prone towards insulin resistance versus having that in normal range. It's easier to be insulin sensitive. Same with B12 as well. You want those vitamins to be within range to have better insulin sensitivity. Okay. And then, again, so many people are like, she's anemic because she breathes funny or whatever. Uh, I'm not. So this is an iron panel that I had done, shows everything within normal range. I do continue to take a iron multivitamin a few times a week just to make sure my ferritin doesn't drop, because I am still nursing. So the baby is going to be getting some iron from me. And that is going to be reflected in my ferritin status, because this is iron stores. Okay. All right, and lastly, I did have a Lyme test done, and that came in normal, no Lyme disease. Yeah, so that's all of the blood work that I had done. So everything other than, the triglycerides was really like a non-issue, and actually my doctor, like I said that everything was fine. Um, Particularly to the triglyceride and having elevated triglyceride and low HDL in the absence of elevated cholesterol, in the absence of high blood pressure, in the absence of high BMI is really a non-issue. So when it's coupled with the other risk factors for metabolic disease, diabetes, which would also been reflected in my fasting glucose as well. Really, they become kind of a non-issue if they're not coupled with these other risk factors for diabetes, heart disease, for example. Okay, so non-issue, and that's what my doctor said. But I am curious to see how things change, when I have my bloods done again. Last thing that I want to show too is just what my body looks like, right now. I took this morning, and then what I just showed you guys, when I started this video is what I look like before dinner. Just that, these are the results that you can expect. And in particular, my abdomen is starting to get a little bit more or leaned out. Same with my legs and my arms. Just because I've been very consistent with my carbohydrate intake and keeping my diet low fat, but mostly the carbs, like I had to increase them in order to feel better. And that's actually why I went to the doctor to begin with, because prior to that, I was struggling with my energy and just trying to be as productive as I wanted to be. And really, it just came down to the fact that I needed to eat more carbohydrates. So now that I've been more consistent with that over the last 6 months, it's been reflected in the fact that my body's dropped weight, my insulin sensitivity has improved, and, everything is good to go. So I want to just explain why that is, and it's because according to the dietetic factors influencing the glucose tolerance and activity of insulin, that my sugar tolerance has improved because I eat a diet that contains an excess of carbohydrate and a low intake of fat. So sugar tolerance is impaired by glucose starvation or the taking of diets with a high content of fat. So in my case, making sure that I'm eating sufficient carbohydrates so that I'm not impairing my sugar tolerance and encouraging de novo lipogenesis is important, because I think that's what I was dealing with prior. And that's something too to consider if you're not getting the results, is that maybe you're just not eating enough carbohydrate. Maybe you're not eating enough simple carbohydrate, right? And it's easy to bump things up by just adding some sugar to your diet. Uh, because then you're not dealing like with the, volume issue of like a lot of carbohydrate foods like fruits and starches being low calorie density. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Leave any comments or questions down below. Um, Also, last thing I want to say is that my coaching program is currently on sale. You guys asked me if I was going to run a sale on it, and so I said, why not? It's my Easter gift to you guys, and it will be on sale until the end of April. So this is the coaching group. Basically, it's where you get my support, guidance, and expertise unlimited on tap, Uh, it's a lifetime membership too. So it's a one-time membership fee, and then you're in and you can ask as many questions as you like. And what I like to pair it with too is my coaching program. So my coaching program goes over everything that you need to know about the human metabolism, the fundamentals of an optimal diet and lifestyle, and then how to apply it, and then how to troubleshoot your results. But if you combine it with my coaching group, okay, then you can take the course, the coaching program, and then ask me any questions about, your own personal journey. You can share blood work there, and I can give you my feedback. So I do have a bundle, which is the best option in terms of cost effectiveness. With the coaching program and coaching group bundled together. But then, you can also purchase them separately as well. And right now, definitely take advantage of the coaching group being on sale, because the cost of everything is going up, and so will the cost of my services, unfortunately. That's just the name of the game right now. But so take advantage while things are priced what they are, okay? Because I really love working with everybody and sharing this information and, helping you get the results that you desire. All right, thank you so much for joining today, and I will see you guys next time. Leave any comments or questions down below, and please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.